Hello folks, in today's episode I'm going to be discussing some of the small things you may have missed during the Paralez questline in relation to the ARG and the mystery surrounding the rings and the statues in the game, as well as why I definitely think Mars is in our future. My name's Mike, you're watching Deconstructing the Game, let's get to it. Okay, so this video is going to be centered around the mission Dream On for Elizabeth and Jefferson Paralez, where you are tasked with investigating their security company and why Jefferson has been getting headaches and forgetting things more often. You will find a small room inside the apartment which is full of cybernetic equipment, surveillance equipment and security equipment, and then if you follow all the cables to the roof you'll find an old-fashioned antenna which is pointing down to a car park down below, where you will then find a black van waiting with a couple of guys in there. If you scan the vehicle, it will tell you the vehicle details and not much else, and if you try and engage these guys in combat, you will be able to fight them, but you won't be able to actually kill them. And I couldn't help but notice that this vehicle looks remarkably like the vehicle on the login screen of the Netwatch website. But that could just be a coincidence, as I didn't find anything connecting the two at the moment. The easiest way to get to the location that these guys are going to is by surfing on top of the vehicle, but just be careful because if you don't get it right in the middle, you can be pushed off. Once you get to the end location for this van, they will try and escape by climbing up the ladder extremely slowly, I might add, and you can just follow them, and then eventually you will get to a cloaked AV waiting for departure. The guy just disappears, but I'm assuming he's meant to be inside the AV, and you can jump on the roof and wait for his departure, and it will eventually take off and just head around the corner. I thought that we might be able to see something a little bit more interesting than what we do. I thought it might take us to a secret location, but ultimately it just stops beside this building and then it disappears. The only thing of value that you can get regarding this mission is from the guys who escape the truck, and once they're here you can actually kill them and take their loot. You can also see the AV taking off from a different angle, but everything else around this part of the map is just the standard loot, weapons and armor. There's nothing else involving the mission at this point. As I say, you can loot this guy's body. He does have a couple of loot items on him and an encrypted note, which can be decrypted using the breach protocol function, and you can read the note involving Project Condon and how it's been suspended because you are snooping around. This isn't too dissimilar to the Project Oracle note we decrypted from Gary's mission, but I don't think these are connected. They could well be the same entity or group involved, but I don't think these tie in, and of course there is no information or evidence that we can glean from this guy's uniform. Only other thing we can do around here is of course connect to the van and look at the information that they have on Elizabeth and Jefferson Paralez, and you do discover that this is deeper down the rabbit hole than you'd like to think. There are other people involved in this, around the country, so it's not just Jefferson and Elizabeth, so it does go deeper, and once we discover this you have a choice of telling Jefferson the truth or you can keep it secret. So that's entirely up to you. It does say in the official guide this is an entirely roleplay decision, however I think that is a slight white lie because obviously we have Mr. Blue Eyes who pops up later on in the game and he is seen around us in this mission as well. So I think that could be a white lie on CD Projekt Red's part. Another thing I thought was quite interesting was Miltech's login screen was on this computer. As soon as I opened it, I didn't have to go into the net or anything, so that could be a glitch or it could be a hint of something, no idea. But of course Mr. Blue Eyes is watching, like we all know. You can't interact with him, you can scan him and it tells you his name, Mr. Blue Eyes. He is unknown affiliation, and that's pretty much it. I did try shooting him, which I know is a moot point because he's a critical character in the game. I just wanted to see what would happen. Nothing did happen, so there we go. Okay, so now for the Mars stuff, and I know I sound like a broken record, but if anyone has seen the movie Total Recall, the original of course with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone, the Paralez family seem a little bit of a parallel between the Dennis Quaid and Laurie of Total Recall. Obviously, if you've seen the movie, you know that Laurie is involved with the scheme of trying to keep him in the dark, but I couldn't help but notice the parallel between the Paralezes. Obviously, the concept of brain dance and the recalls are connected in that way, and I couldn't help but notice the concept art for the cabs in Cyberpunk look very similar to Johnny Cab from Total Recall. Mr. Blue Eyes also looks very similar to the elusive man from Mass Effect, and obviously Mass Effect is very space themed of course, so I'm wondering if that's kind of a point in the direction for space. Obviously, if anyone's finished the game, you know that there is a space mission coming up. And of course, with Elon Musk advocating the game, talking about the game, Grimes doing music for the game, I'm kind of thinking they may have a Mars DLC coming up, possibly featuring Starship. Who knows? I mean, it's possible. And of course, Elon Musk is also testing out a thing called Neuralink, which involves putting a microchip into your brain to increase bandwidth, and we also have the Cybertruck. So I could have some confirmation bias here, but I really do want a Mars DLC, and with all the kind of hinting and the connections between, you know, classic movies, Elon Musk, new video games, that kind of thing. I'm seeing a connection here. I'm seeing a pattern that could be pointing to a Mars DLC or possibly another planet. Or you know, as well as the space station for the shards. So yeah, I'm hoping that's going to come in the future. I have found some other things that I want to explore, but I might not be able to get there on console. So bear with me, and if I find anything new, I will let you know. Thanks for listening, guys. My name's Mike. You've been watching Deconstructing the Game, and I'll catch you later.